So fine, let's start with Testng, and we have seen various components and all and various commands of Selenium, but till now we have not seen how to build test cases. Okay, what is Testng? Testng is something which will help you build the test cases. Right. When you write Selenium scripts, then you have individual scripts. Okay. Apart from these scripts, you have to, read data from Excel file. You have to generate reports. You have to generate logs. Inside the reports, you might have to put the screenshots and all everything in the reports. Then you have to run these test cases in a certain order, or you have to run them in parallel order. Okay, right, or you might want to skip a test case. Okay, so to do all these things we use Testng. Okay, Testng is like a centralized controller. It will read the data from the Excel file, call the respective test cases in certain orders. It will help you generate reports, logs, even connecting to Jenkins, running from Jenkins and Maven. A lot of things are there. Okay, so this is what Testng will do. Selenium as a tool is only in this blue box. Okay, Selenium can only interact with the browser. It cannot help you build the test cases. Right. So the first thing, okay, the first thing which you need to do is that you need to actually install Testng as a plugin inside. Okay, install Testng as a plugin inside your Eclipse. Okay, right. So for that you need to go to Google. Just 1 minute. You need to go to Google and type Testng Eclipse. Right. When you go here, right, and click on install plugin, right, and go down and you will see this link views.com/eclipse, right, and you copy this link, right, go to Eclipse, go to help, install new software. Okay, and paste this link and hit the enter button, okay, of the keyboard, and then in some time, instead of pending, you will see Testng will come up over here. Okay, right now it is not coming, maybe because there is some issue. Right, you will get Testng over here. You'll have to select Testng, click on next, and your Eclipse will also restart. Right, and you will have Testng installed. Right, so out here, fine, out here you will, once you have Testng installed, you will have, you can actually verify. You can go to Windows, you can go to preferences, right, and under preferences you will have, hold on, sorry, not under Windows, sorry, I'm sorry, Windows show view. Okay, you have to go to Windows show view, and you have to go to other, and under other you will have Java, and under Java you will have Testng. So if this is present, that means Testng is successfully installed, right? So that's the thing, that's how you work with Testng, or you configure Testng. Now, what are the various commands of Testng? How do you build projects with Testng? Okay, right. So for that, let me make a new Java project over here known as Testng Tutorial. Alright, and inside the source folder, right, right, we will make a new package. Okay, and I will name that package as test cases. I'll be keeping test cases inside this package. Package is like a folder inside a folder, right? So what you need to do is that you need to create test cases. For example, I'll create a new class over here known as, say, a very simple test case like send email test. Okay, right. So in this, first of all, in testng there is no main function. Okay, there are annotations, right? There is annotation like @test public void do login. Then there is, okay, this means that this function is a test case. Okay, this is known as an annotation. You have to move the mouse over the error and add the testng library in the project, right? And then you move the mouse over it and import test annotation. Then you write another test annotation @test public void, say, do send mail, like you have to send an email to someone. Okay, so this becomes another test case, right? And similarly you can keep more test cases as well, like @test public void logout. Okay, so these are the three test cases. Inside these three test cases, you can have the Selenium code. Okay, we will discuss about that, but right now let me tell you about the fundamentals of testng. Okay, right. So, right. So out here, you can write system.out.println logging in. Okay, then sending mail, then logging out. Right. So when you run this, okay, when you run this, it says that total test runs are 3. You can run it normally by clicking on the run button. There is no main function. Is my screen frozen? So you get an output like this when you run this. You have got 3 test annotations. Okay, and you have got total test runs as 3. Right, and failures are 0. Okay, so you have got 3 test annotations. Okay, and when you run this program through the normal run button, you will have the, hold on, or you can right click on the file and run as testng test as well. Okay, so you will have total test runs 3, failures 0 and skips 0. There will be another tab over here, results of running the class, which you open and you will see that, okay, this is passing, everything is in green. Okay, right. Now don't think that in testng the tests will execute in the serial order, that is from top to bottom. It will not happen like this. If I keep my logout test in the very beginning, suppose, and if I run it, then also in the output you will see that logging in is printing first. The order will never be same. Okay, it's not from top to bottom order. We were a little lucky that our tests got executed from top to bottom. Otherwise, this will not be the case. You have to mention that which test case to execute first, which test case to execute later on. Right. So, what you need to do is that you need to prioritize the test cases. You need to write over here priority for this test case is 1. Priority for this test case is 2. Priority for this test case is 3. You have to prioritize the test cases. The test cases with highest priority will be executed first. Then the other priority test cases will be executed. Okay, right. So this is how it works. Right. Now, hold on. I think this is done. Right. Now out here, you can also create multiple Java files with test cases. Like for example, I can create a new class over here known as registration test. Okay, in this I can have @test annotation and I can write public void do register. Fine. And I can have the Selenium code inside it which will probably register the user on the web page. Now in Testng you can also pass or fail the test cases. You can fail the test cases as well. Why is my screen freezing? So right, so what I had done was that I had created this test registration test, and this is the test annotation, right? And I have this function do register which will be responsible to register the user on a website, right? So out here we will be having obviously the Selenium code. Okay, now you can also do validations as I was saying. You can compare results, you can pass, fail, skip the test cases, right? How do you do that in Selenium? Well, it's quite easy. Uh, in Testng you have got a function known or a class known as assert. Okay, this class helps you to do the validations. Alright, if you move the mouse over this error, you will get the option to import assert from org.testng. You import this and make sure you import it from org.testng package. You don't import it from JUnit packages. At times people import it from JUnit and that causes a problem. Right. Okay. So out here, you have to import it from org.testng. Now when we do testing, what we have got some expected value, right? Say this is some expected value. You have to compare this with some actual value. Okay, actual value will be, this will be the actual value. So actual value will come up from Selenium, maybe the title of the page like driver.getTitle. Okay, some text from the web page, right? And expected value will be coming up from an external file like a properties file or an XLS file. Okay, with the assert class you can compare your expected and the actual values. You can write over here assert equals, right, and you can compare the expected and actual values. You can give the actual value over here, You can give the expected value over here. Sorry. Right. And if you run this program, right, it will compare and it will give you the output that total test runs are 0, failures are 0. There is no failure because both of them are same. If I make like actual value little different than expected value, and if I run this, and you will see that you will get an exception, assertion error, right? So assertion helps you, assert class helps you to validate stuff. Similarly, there are other assert functions as well. For example, assert dot assert true. Okay, in this you have to give some condition and a message. Okay, what is condition? Condition can be anything like say 2 greater than 1, and this message is nothing, it is actually your error message. Now how does this work? What do you mean by this kind of assertion? Look, assert true means that make sure that this condition is evaluating to true. 2 greater than 1 is true. So this error message will not be thrown. If I write 2 greater than 11, then this will evaluate to false, the assertion will fail, and whatever is the error message you supply over here will be coming up in the reports at the bottom. So when you run this, you will see that total failures are 1. Okay, and in the results you will see that it has failed, and the wording, whatever wording you write over here, error message, you will be able to relate it in the report as well. Okay, HTML reports are also formed when you run with Testng. Okay, you also get HTML reports, right? If you go and refresh your project, right, you will have a test output folder. Okay, and you will actually, just a minute, yeah, you will actually, if you open it, you will get this index.html page, which is the HTML report as well, but these are not very good reports. Okay, so if you open these reports in a browser, right, you will see this do register over here. No, not a very good report. Okay, right, so no, they will not execute. The Java file which you execute, only that one will execute. If I am executing registration test, only this will execute. You can run both of them together. I will tell you how you can do that. Okay, right. Now out here, 2 greater than 11, everything is fine, right? This is send email test, right? Now, when is this kind of assertion used? Right, for example, you can keep the function is element present. Remember, we had made this function. You can send the XPath of the element inside it, and it will tell you if it returns you true, element is present. If it returns you false, then you can put an error message over here that element is not present. So in these kind of scenarios, you can use this. Sometimes you are very sure that the test case has failed. For example, you are logging into the website, you enter the user ID password, and you stay back on the same page, you are not able to log in. So at that point of time, you are very sure that you are at a place where you have not logged in, right? So you want to deliberately fail the test case. You are sure that, right, your process or your action is unsuccessful. So you can give the command assert.fail over here directly with whatever error message of your choice. So these are the 3 assertion functions which we will be using a lot. Okay, right. Apart from this, you will not feel anything. Apart from this, these are more than enough. And there is one more thing. Sometimes you want to skip the test case. Suppose you are running 100 test cases and 100 out of 100 you only want to run 50 tests. You want to skip say 50 test cases and you want to run 50 test cases. So what we do is that we skip the test cases. To skip the test cases, this is the command: throw new skip exception. Okay, skipping, you can write anything over here, the test. So this test will be skipped, it will not be executed and all. So generally what we do is that we keep a flag in the Excel file that which test case to execute and which not to execute, and you can throw the skip exception for the test cases which shouldn't be executed, right, by reading the flag in the Excel file. Okay, so if you run this code, it runs and in the results you will see yellow coming up. Yellow means that it is skipping the test. Okay, right, so you can skip the test case, you can do some validations, you can do anything. It's very easy. Okay, you'll have to merge the Selenium code with it. Right, now sometimes you have the need that you want to parameterize the test case. Okay, right, to parameterize the test case, look, what do you mean by parameterization? That means that running one test case with different sets of data. Okay, suppose this is the registration test. I want to execute this registration test with different sets of username, password, email, phone number. Okay, right. So how do you run one test case multiple times with different sets of data? That is also possible in Testng. Okay, right. Look, for that what we do is that we use a two-dimensional object array. Okay, we use an object array like this, two-dimensional, right, and it's got various rows and various columns. Okay, the number of times you want to run the test case is equal to number of rows in this two-dimensional object array. If there are 4 rows, that means this test case will be executed 4 times. Number of columns are equal to number of parameters in the test. Okay, for example, username, password, email. Okay, right. So you keep a data in two-dimensional object array and this test will run as many times as the number of data, right? So there's a question being asked, Testng is the only option for data driven. That is the best option, Mohan, and the easiest one. Rather than you making your own, it's got many pre-built features and all which can help you a lot. Okay, so alright, so over here to do this, to accomplish this, you have to use another annotation known as @data provider. As the name suggests that this provides the data. Okay, what this function does is that it returns you a two-dimensional object array. Hold on, I'll tell you. Inside this function you make an object array known as data. Say I will make an object array with 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay, that means I have 3 sets of data. The first parameter is number of rows. That means I have 3 sets of data. I can fill up my first row over here. I can write data 0. 0 is say some username 1. 1 is password 1. Okay, then you have got second row. Okay, data 1 0, which will be username 2, password. Okay, right, and then you will have the third row, right? You will have the third row with the same. Okay, right. This is the first row, this is the second row, and this is the third row. Okay, right. So I hope you understood the point, right? So what will happen is that this test will be executed with the first set of data first, then the second set of data, and then the third set of data. Okay, right. So you'll have to write over here return data. Okay, right. So you will have this is the first step. The first step is that you make a data array, put up the data inside it. Later on we'll read the data from the Excel file and put in this array. Right now I'm hard coding it. Okay, right. So out here, the first step is you make a data provider, make a two-dimensional object array. That's it. The second step is you have to tell the test case. Okay, you have to tell the test case that fine, this is your data provider. Okay, right. What I mean to say is that you will have to write over here that data provider for this test case is, put the name of it. You have to link the test with the data provider. Otherwise, it won't be possible. Okay, right? I hope you are understanding my point. Fine. Now, after this, the next step. Okay, the next step after this is, just a minute. Yeah, you need to have number of input parameters inside this test case same as number of parameters in the test. Okay, what do I mean by that? Okay, what do I mean by that? Look, by saying the number of input parameters should be same as number of parameters in the test, I mean you have to write over here string username, string password. If there are two columns, then you have to give two parameters out here. It's pretty simple. When the test will be called with this set of data, it has to send the data somewhere in the test, right? So U1 will go inside username and P1 will go inside password. When second row is executed, U2 will go into username, P2 will go into password. And that's it. You don't have to do anything else. Testng will automatically do. Testng will go and see this test. It will see that fine data provider is this. It will go inside data provider, collect all the data and call this test case 3 times, passing the different sets of data in it. Okay, if I run this, you will see the output. Total test runs are 3. Okay, total test runs are 3. Failures are 0, skips are 0. Okay, so this is how you parameterize the test case. That is, run one test case, single test case with different sets of data. Okay, you can also run both these tests. Look, these are two individual Java files. You can run them together in a batch. That is also possible. You can use testng.xml for that. Okay, that's an XML file. Hold on, I'll tell you. Just a minute. Yeah, this is the file. You keep it in the project. I have copy pasted it. Right. So inside it, you can give the test cases in the serial order which you want to execute. For example, first time I want to give registration test. Okay, and you have to give the fully qualified name over here. You need to write over here test cases dot registration test. Then the other test case is send mail test. Okay, this name can be anything, but this name has to be the fully qualified name starting from the package name. Okay, case sensitive, everything is important in this, right? The upper name, the test name, you can keep anything, but the class name you have to be careful about. Okay, so when you run this testng.xml, right, or you can right click on this testng.xml and run it as a testng suite. So both these tests will be executed from top to bottom in the serial order. Okay, so you will see that registration test occurs, it runs first, and send mail test, it runs after that. We will also generate better reports, HTML reports known as extent reports. We'll do that when we do the frameworks. Okay, those reports, they look something like this. Okay, they have, they are literally good, better than anything. Each and every test is mentioned on the left side. Okay, right, in the login test you can actually look, you can have the logs for each and every test case inside the reports. Even the screenshot you can embed inside the reports, that is also possible. We will do this. Okay, we'll do this. There's a question being asked that how to create an XML file. Look, you can create an XML file by right clicking, go to new file, and you can give any name .xml. I prefer to just copy paste it from somewhere else. Okay, I won't make a mistake in syntax then. Alright, this is the best way I feel like. Right. Now, pretty simple. There is nothing tough in this. Okay, right. So out here, all you need to do is you need to build test cases, add the test annotations, put some assertions inside it, assertions that will validate, right? And then you can skip the test case. Okay, you can actually read the data from the Excel file, right? Yes, we do it from Excel only, Neeraj. No need of XML. Right? You can parameterize the test cases. You can run them together through testng.xml. Right. Apart from this, there are other things as well. Some other annotations before test, after test, before method, after method. I'll tell you when I teach you frameworks. Okay. How to run these test cases parallelly. Right. There are few things which I cannot tell you in the class directly. I can only tell you with the framework. When I'll start the framework, when I'll merge the Selenium code with this. Okay. So you will actually come to know. Fine, we'll start off with the frameworks day after tomorrow on 7th. Okay, tomorrow I will be discussing the exercises which I have been given for such a long time. Right, there were so many of them. I'll discuss some of them which you want me to discuss tomorrow. Okay, and